Welcome to the stage, Mr. Lee Batcher. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first annual Blockchain Awards 2022. Tonight, we have 3 categories: Texas Blockchain Council Journalist of the Year, Texas Blockchain Council Legislator of the Year, and Texas Blockchain Council Educator of the Year.
All right, guys, we're going to do a brief award ceremony. I know you guys prefer to see Pat Green rather than me, so I'm not going to be up here for too long, but I do want to recognize a few people that the community affirmed should be nominated for these awards. So we're looking forward to giving 3 awards out, and let's roll the video.
The nominees for Journalist of the Year: McKinsey Sigalos, Katerina Mora, and Natalie Brunel.
We literally did this. We have gold envelopes. I recognize how ridiculous this is. And the Journalist of the Year is McKinsey Sigalos. So as McKinsey comes up, I'll just say a few things. She's going to give some brief remarks. If you guys have followed her coverage on CNBC, you'll know that she's a prolific writer in this industry, and specifically has covered the Bitcoin mining space very well. So I'm going to pass the mic off to you.
Hey, thank you so much. This is such an honor to accept this award. You know, I think about when I started my coverage of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, and of mining specifically. And it was May of 2021, and I was at Bitcoin Miami. And in the space of 45 minutes, I had a conversation with a miner, the CEO of a Bitcoin mining company, and with Nick Carter. And all 3 of them said to me that the biggest and most underreported story was the mass migration of miners out of China, the great westernization of hash rate, and crucially, how this was going to revolutionize the incentives for building out renewable infrastructure all over the planet. And so I wrote that story. And my editors and I were kind of shocked because it was the #1 story on CNBC.com. And we didn't realize that our readers and our viewers were so interested in Bitcoin and mining and cryptocurrencies outside of the context of price moves and markets. And so I wrote about it again, and it did well again. And I just hit mining from every possible angle. And 6 months later, I felt like a de facto energy reporter. And I have to say that, like, I see so many faces in the audience of people who have been on the phone with me at 2 a.m. and teaching me about this space and just have been so generous with their time and their expertise. And I'm so grateful to them. And when I think about mining coverage specifically, yes, I am fascinated by grid dynamics and how you can provide a base load that's flexible and help to stabilize grids and incentivize renewables and do so much more with flare gas. Obviously, that's such a huge topic here in Texas. But what's especially compelling about the mining industry is that we're talking about the direct exchange of energy to finance and to money. And with Bitcoin specifically, it's actually based on and directly related to energy consumption. And that's scary for some people. And like with mainstream media, that's a very scary concept. But when you get right down to it, I mean, it's also real, and it's connected to the most important and tangible thing that we have. So it has been an absolute pleasure to cover this space. I'm so grateful to the people who've really brought me under their wing. I mean, I was talking to the Rhodium team earlier, and while we were getting drinks, they were drawing me a diagram to explain how heat captured during Bitcoin mining through immersion cooling can then be channeled into heating homes in Canada. Like, that's the kind of, like, I love that. I love this community of people. I am so grateful for this award. And please, please talk to me. Like, come find me in person. Message me in DMs on Twitter. Tell me what story isn't being told that needs to be. And I will so gladly elevate that narrative because we got to get the truth out there and make sure that people don't realize what they need until they hear it sometimes. And that's what we've learned in the last 1.5 years covering this space at CNBC. So thank you.
We actually have an award for you.
The nominees for Legislator of the Year are Representative Tan Parker, Senator Angela Paxton, and Representative Giovanni Capriglione.
And Legislator of the Year is Senator Angela Paxton. Okay, I've got a quick story on Senator Paxton as she comes up. During the last legislative session, we had a couple bills that were running, and one of them she was sponsoring in the Senate, and it was probably midnight. And we have the entire Bitcoin Twitter is going crazy, calling her office. Your staff was still working. This was the last day of the session. And this is the last day that bills could be passed. And she had a slew of bills that she could have picked from, but she picked the bill, House Bill 4474, which I won't bore you with the details, but to be brief, provides a framework for virtual currencies in the state of Texas. And we were second in the country to do it. And I think we did it a little bit better than Wyoming. It was more succinct. They had and so that was Senator Paxton at midnight picking that bill from the community, calling her office and texting her and saying, hey, we're getting a lot of traction on this. There's a lot of calls coming in. It's midnight. And so, Senator, we really appreciate what you've done and what you continue to do. And I'm going to pass the mic to you to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, the first thing I have to say is that without Representative Giovanni Capriglione and without Representative Tan Parker, who's about to be one of my colleagues in the Texas Senate, we wouldn't get things through both houses. And so I'm so thankful for their help. And actually, I got to admit that when I was sitting there and I saw the competition, I said, I hope that Lee didn't bring me here to lose, So I'm so glad I won, right? The other thing I have to say is that I think, note to self, Mackenzie, if you have a conversation with Mackenzie, don't think it's private, okay? If she's taking the picture that you drew, just know. And I hate following your boots. I really do. They're amazing. It's pretty exciting to be part of this with you. And when I became a state senator 4 years ago, I kind of took as my motto, I guess. I was a former educator, high school math and physics teacher, school counselor. Actually, I think all those years of working with adolescents was really great preparation for politics, to be very honest with you. But I really took as my motto, listen, learn, and lead. And in Texas, we have a citizen legislature. We meet for 140 days every other year, generally speaking. And we all have our unique background and experience and interests, the things that kind of make us tick. And when I first started talking to Lee about blockchain, I was just fascinated by it because it's interesting to me because my undergraduate was in mathematical science, computer science and all. But I immediately saw the economic opportunity that this could be for the state of Texas and for the kids who are in our schools now and are going to be graduating. And, I have a son that lives in the Bay Area that is a software engineer. And I've visited with so many people out in that area that, I'm like, why are you here? Why are you in California where you're getting taxed and regulated to death? Why are you not in Texas? And you know what? It's thrilling to see how the blockchain community has recognized the greatness of Texas and the opportunity that is here. And I want to do everything I can, and I want you to know that you have my commitment to make sure that Texas leads in this area. It ought to, but I can only really do that because of you. And I want you to know you also have my commitment to continue to listen and continue to learn so that I can continue to lead, to keep Texas first in this space. And I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity to work with you in such an exciting opportunity for Texas and for our future. Thank you. I just asked Lee if it was a Bitcoin, and he said it wasn't. So I'm very sad about that part. But anyway, thank you all so much. Have a great night.
The nominees for Educator of the Year are Christine Cranley, Chris O'Neill, and Mark Cole.
And the Educator of the Year is Christine Cranley. So Christine, if you're in the DFW area, you know Christine. She's at every single meetup. If we need somebody, a moderator, a speaker, she's an excellent public speaker, an excellent educator, and that's really what she does, right? She spends time with people, builds a relationship, and then orange pills them. So Christine.
Lee, thank you so much. I can't tell you how honored I am. Yeah, it's funny. I'm shocked. But probably like so many of you, when I went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole in 2021, I couldn't stop talking about it, right? You scratch beneath the surface and you see what's going on with the monetary system and all the money printing. And then you find Bitcoin and this ray of hope. And, it doesn't matter if they want to hear it or not. You just can't stop talking about it. And then when the pandemic shut down the business where I worked in Washington, D.C., I took the opportunity to flee back to my home state of Texas. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do is be in this space. And so I created an LLC, Noah's Bitcoin, in honor of Noah's Ark, right? Get on the ark, escape the flood of the printed money. And I changed my LinkedIn page to say what I do, teach about Bitcoin, and I talked to my new dentist, and miraculously, people started calling me and looking for people to educate them. And along the way, one of those people was an RIA firm, a registered investment advisor, who was also pioneering in the space. Doing stranded natural gas, Bitcoin mining with Giga Energy. And so opened the door to allow me to get into that whole new world of Bitcoin mining and educating investors about the match made in heaven between Texas oil and gas and Bitcoin mining. So I feel like I'm still making it up as I go along, but like so many of you, just love to be in this space. And I so love the Texas Blockchain Council, your vision, Lee. I like to think about that old story of stone soup, right? Where the guy's hungry, and so he puts a pot of water on the fire and he puts a stone in it, and everyone comes along and they say, "What are you making?" And he says, "Stone soup, isn't it good?" And they're like, "Well, maybe it needs some potatoes, and maybe it needs some carrots, and maybe it needs some peas." And together they make a feast. And I just feel like it's so like that in this space. We all have something to give, right? I love to teach. We've got educators, we've got regulators, we've got lawmakers, we've got programmers, we've got miners, we've got gas and oil. And through the work of the Texas Blockchain Council, we all come together in a beautiful synergy to give our little carrot or pea or potato or whatever we have to make the space so much more beautiful and to work together to make Texas Bitcoin country. So I'm honored to be a member, honored to receive this award, and I can't wait to see what we do together moving forward.
I'm Lee Bratcher, the president of the Texas Blockchain Council. Thank you to everyone who came out to this year's summit, helping us make it the best one yet. Now more than ever, we need professional industry associations like the TBC to help craft effective policy instead of the CEOs of centralized exchanges roaming the halls of various state capitals or in DC. Texas is quickly becoming the center of the universe for Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital assets. If you want to be part of the future that we are crafting here in Texas, join the TBC today.